have legal issues, because we have all types of legal issues coming up. If I'm not financed properly, I'm gonna sue this Board of Commissioners, period. Well, I may need lawyers to do that, because if not, I'm adding to that jail population, right? It's just common sense. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. In Fulton County, a Democratic county, we have a Republican chair and a Republican vice chair. I don't know what in the world is going on.
A few moments later.
A Fulton County judge just ruled that it's appropriate to hold the Board of Commissioners in civil contempt and fine it $10,000 a day until it appoints 2 Republicans to the county election board.
And that comes after he says that 2 members of the board illegally blocked them.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton, and of course it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today I'm going to ask you for some creative license. I want y'all to allow me to get nice and creative with my storytelling today. And I'm going to tell you why. Your girl, Fani Willis, you know that she's been in the news a lot, but lately she's been kind of keeping a low profile. But there's a story that I want to tell you about her county, Fulton County, Georgia. But I want to tell it from the perspective of Fani, okay? Not from her perspective, but from a lens of how is Fani involved with this crazy story. This story is quite crazy, okay? It's quite crazy. So I'm going to tell you this story, which is absolutely true, and it's breaking. It's within the last 24 hours that all of this is breaking. I'm going to tell you this story from the perspective of how is Fani involved. So the first thing we need to know is Fani has been at war with the Fulton County Commission for quite some time now, okay? I'm going to show you a couple of clips that's just going to lay the groundwork that Fani is at war with the Fulton County Commission. I'm going to show you 2 clips of that to just totally lay the groundwork. One is from a recent interview she did with a local news station, but the first one I'm going to show you is a previous video that, not the whole video, just a clip from the video that I made about it, okay? That's setting the groundwork for this story that I'm going to tell. Now, what is the story? The story is that the Fulton County Commission, they are being fined $10,000 per day because even though a judge has ordered the Democrat majority commission to seat 2 Republicans on the commission, they are refusing. This is just breaking over the last 24 hours, y'all, less than 24 hours. They are refusing, and they are being held in civil contempt, massive fines, and the angle that I'm asking you to allow me to tell this story from is, I wonder if Fani has influenced them because she criticized them. She criticized their makeup, and she's been heavily critical of them. And I just wonder if maybe Fani's criticism and frankly other factors are playing a role in this very hard to understand decision where they're running the risk of $10,000 per day fine. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop into Fani's withering criticism of them, 2 clips, and then we're going to get into this crazy story that this commission they're being held in contempt for not seating Republican members on the Democrat majority commission. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement. The Royal Rumble that's about to unfold between, on the one side, Fani Willis, and on the other side, the Fulton County Commission. Y'all hit that like button. Go ahead and just give it a little bit of love. So as you can see, y'all, Fani Willis, she has said if the Fulton County Commission does not do what she says they need to do, she is going to sue them. So they heard that, they received that in a and a court filing from Fani that if y'all don't give me the money that I say I need, I'm going to sue y'all. Well, the Fulton County Commission has denied DA Fani Willis's request, nay, her demand for more funding in the 2025 budget, according to Yahoo News. Now, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, they opted against allocating a substantial monetary increase for the county district attorney's office as they finalized its 2025 fiscal year budget on Wednesday. Now, that was just a couple of days ago, y'all. We still haven't heard a peep from Fani, but let's take a look at what Fani said in this. I don't know if this was hidden video. I don't know how this got recorded, but let's take a look what Fani said is going to happen if she doesn't get the money she wants.
Obviously, you can donate. I want to say that again. So obviously, you can donate because it does finance lawyers. It finances my security. Whenever I do anything that is not necessarily DA related, but more my elected, I pay security to be with me because I never want them to say I'm using county officials to do public service. So my bills in my campaign are more. But the other thing that you can do is I would love some place where if there was a think tank when we have legal issues, because we have all types of legal issues coming up. If I'm not financed properly, I'm gonna sue this Board of Commissioners, period. Well, I may need lawyers to do that because if not, I'm adding to that jail population, right? It's just common sense. How many lawyers I have, that's how many cases we can indict. That's how quickly we get to dismissals, setting appropriate bonds, and you have people that are not invested in it. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. In Fulton County, a Democratic county, we have a Republican chair and a Republican vice chair. I don't know what in the world is going on.
Now, Fani has said that if the Fulton County Commission, the Board of Commissioners, does not give her the money that she says she needs, Fani has said that people are going to die. You didn't see that in the clip we just played, but in other places she said people are going to die. She says she needs this money in order to fully staff her office and in order to help alleviate the overcrowding at the jail, keep people safe, keep people off the streets, and of course, protect people's lives. Now, continuing on with the article, the board allocated $39.3 million of its nearly $1 billion budget to the DA's office, a figure that Willis has insisted will not allow her staff to properly carry out its duties. The adopted budget also fails to provide additional funding requested by other justice and safety partners like the magistrate courts and the Solicitor General. So as you can see, that's the first clip from my previous report, okay? This was several months ago where Fani is threatening to sue them, she's criticizing them, etc. Now let's take a look at a more recent clip from a journalist who just did an interview with Fani over the past week to 10 days, and she's still criticizing the commission. Let's take a look.
Through the interview, was there anything that was surprising to you or unexpected?
I mean, her candor about the commissioners was very surprising to me. She point blank said that, they were lying about not being able to give her office more money, naming certain commissioners, specifically Commissioner Pitts, Ellis, right, Thorne, and Abdurrahman. So that was definitely a big surprise to me. But, as a journalist, I always appreciate that frankness from politicians because you don't always get that in an interview. But yeah.
Okay, so now you have the background, right? Now you're totally clued in. Now we're gonna shoot to the news report from just yesterday about the commission being held in contempt and this massive fine, or these fines, I guess it's an ongoing situation that they're facing for refusing to seat Republicans on the commission.
30. A Fulton County judge just ruled that it's appropriate to hold the Board of Commissioners in civil contempt and fine it $10,000 a day until it appoints 2 Republicans to the county election board.
And that comes after he says that 2 members of the board illegally blocked them. 11 Live's Doug Richards was at today's emergency hearing and explains what could happen next.
Outside of the Fulton County Courthouse, a crowd gathered to back up 2 county commissioners who had blocked 2 Republican election board members they described as 2020 election deniers.
I never could have anticipated that I would be facing jail time for doing my job. But here we are.
Commissioners Dana Barrett and Mo Ivory are now on the hot seat because the law requires the board to confirm the GOP's choices for those seats.
These 5 commissioners would rather pander to their constituents than follow this court or any court's order. That cannot stand.
Judge David Emerson already wrote an order requiring them to appoint the Republicans. But the commissioners contended that the law cannot compel their votes as county commissioners.
You're not allowed to vote your conscience. That's their theory. You cannot vote, is the plaintiff's theory. You may not vote. No. You are nothing but a rubber stamp.
I didn't see anywhere in that legislation that the commission was given veto power over the nominees. Is it in there? Did I miss it?
Certainly did not.
Okay, so then that's my concern.
It is incomprehensible to me how you could tell someone to vote, but it's just a rubber stamp. These people are not potted plants.
The commissioner's attorney asked the judge to send the case to an appeals court, but the attorney for the Republican Party said, sure, but...
They can have their day in court, but they need to follow this court's order.
The commissioner's attorney said the problem with that is that if the court forces the board to make the appointments on the election board and then the commission wins on appeal, Fulton County has no mechanism to remove those appointees from the election board. At Fulton Superior Court, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
Interesting to note here that Fulton's Democratic-led Board of Commissioners had routinely appointed Republicans to Fulton's election board over the years, but they drew the line on the current nominees because commissioners said they helped in the effort to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia.
So y'all, thank you for allowing me to tell this story from the angle of how's Fani involved. You know, sometimes you want to make these stories more interesting, and frankly, Fani has maybe influenced them. I mean, she's been very critical of them. She's been at war with them. She, as you saw on the video, she called out, hey, they're Democrats. Why, so who knows? Did she influence them to do this? Who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. But at any rate, it is a story I think worth covering because this is showing the breakdown of democracy, y'all. It's so funny because on their end, they're like, hey, democratically speaking, how can you make us vote for somebody or do something that we don't want to do? But then on the other hand, it's like, that's what the law says. So y'all, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. Do you think Fani might have influenced them, or am I stretching and reaching? Am I reaching and am I stretching? Either way, it's still a crazy story that deserves its coverage. Let me know what y'all think about that down below. And so what I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to actually shoot to some of the court hearing where the lawyers for the Democrats and the lawyers for the Republicans are going back and forth. You're going to see that next. Let me know what you think about all this down below. But before you do, y'all, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with a retirement, hit our link. Finish watching the video, then hit the link Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information about protecting your retirement from the upsies, downsies, roundsies, and roundsies with gold, y'all. You know it's the oldest, longest, strongest, hardest money mankind has ever known. And you can speak to my people at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. I want to thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for liking and loving. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.
I am not sure what advice was provided to the defendants by their counsel. I am not sure, other than taking at their word in their statements on social media out to the public as to what their true intentions are. But this court issued an order. This court issued a second order. And the order of the writ by their noncompliance is being defeated. It is not for them to second guess this court. It is ironic to me that one of their chief complaints about one of the nominees, Ms. Julie Adams, was that she filed a case seeking in the previous Board of Election term as to whether or not she had to, as a duty, as a member of the Board of Elections, to certify the election. In sum, Your Honor, I am not sure what advice was provided to the defendants by their counsel. I am, in sum, Your Honor, I am not sure what advice was provided to the defendants by their counsel. I am not sure, other than taking at their word in their statements on social media out to the public, as to what their true intentions are. But this court issued an order. This court issued a second order. And the order of the writ, by their noncompliance, is being defeated. It is not for them to second guess this court. It is ironic to me that one of their chief complaints about one of the nominees, Ms. Julie Adams, was that she filed a case seeking in the previous Board of Election term as to whether or not she had to, as a duty, as a member of the Board of Elections, to certify the election. And when the court said that she did, she ultimately complied with that. Yet now they want to be on the other side of that argument. And now they're challenging an order of the court, and they're saying that they don't have to comply. It's pretty rich. This is not something that we filed lightly. It's not something that any of us expected when we filed our initial petition, that after obtaining a writ from the court, we would have to come back before the court again and seek and argue a motion for reconsideration or stay. We certainly contemplated that was a possibility. We certainly contemplated that they might have filed a notice of appeal and sought an expeditious review of the situation. What we never contemplated was that something so egregious as this court would say, here's my writ, you must follow it. You're aware of the law that says that it has to be followed immediately. You refuse at the first hearing, despite knowledge of that law, to abide by the court's order.
Well, just you raised that other case. That was Adams versus Fulton County, and I have that on Westlaw right here on my iPad because the Wi-Fi is not working in here right now, but I do have access through my cellular on this device. So, interestingly, that case related to the interpretation of the word shall.
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is what this case revolves around, albeit in a different code section. But the Court of Appeals cited one of the same cases that I looked at, Eternal Vigilance is the short name of it, a 2025 Georgia Supreme Court decision. And they said, quoted, the word shall is generally construed as a word of command. The import of the language is mandatory. Based on the foregoing, Adams' contention, and Adams is one of your
She's
nominees.
one of the nominees, yes, Your Honor.
That the trial court erred in declaring she had a mandatory duty to certify the election results is without merit. And as I noted, that's one of the cases that I looked at in making my decision, which that was the position of Fulton County in that case, which just came down in July, which it makes this case all that much more interesting. All right.
Can I point out one thing?
Let me respond to
I'll
that.
come back to you in just a minute.
Thank you.
Your Honor, and that's exactly right. We actually cited that in our reply before the court ordered on its writ of mandamus. The difference with the distinguishment, and again, we think the case law is clear as to the word shall, and we're not here to relitigate that. What we are here for this court to consider and review is the difference in that case is that upon that order by the court, whether she liked it or not, she complied. And here, upon this court's order, whether the commissioners liked it or not, they're refusing to comply. They are, in a nutshell, attempting to seek someone, to keep someone off the board when they won't follow the law either. Your Honor, this is, again, extraordinary relief. This is not something we've requested lightly. We have laid out the different types of contempt that are available before the court. We also believe that our attorney's fees are appropriate in this instance. And we leave it in your able hands. We believe that everything that the court has stated in its orders to date has been well reasoned. It has been based on the law. And we would ask you, again, to review the law and look to the law, not to the propositions without any authority or the general arguments that the defendants are putting before the court today. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to let Mr. Samuel respond, and you'll get one more word. And Mr. Samuel, yes, what did you want to add?
I think the real irony is that it was an appeal in the Adams case. And, you know, despite the fact that Judge McBurney ruled against her, nobody said, and if you don't do what Judge McBurney says, you know, upstairs here, you're going to be held in contempt. She appealed. That's how they got to the Court of Appeals and ultimately maybe the Supreme Court. But that's what we're asking for. is to have the same right that Ms. Adams had. And I would also point out, Ms. Adams wasn't an elected official, you know, like she was an appointed official. And there's a difference between that and not having a constituency. And in our case, we are not saying that shall was voluntary. That's not, we put that in our original brief, and everybody agrees the word shall often means must. I recognize that. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We cited cases to you where sometimes it doesn't. And Georgia cases, it's a malleable word. We accept the fact. You're ruling that the word shall means shall appoint. The question is, before us today is, does shall mean you must vote? That's the problem here, is that you are telling elected officials, not you must appoint, you shall vote, and you shall vote yes. If we're wrong, Judge, the Court of Appeals will tell us, just like they told Ms. Adams. And then she complied. That's all we're asking for, is the right to appeal. Is the right to appeal, have a meaningful appeal, and not have the plaintiffs, then say, oh, by the way, this is all moot, they're on the board, nothing you can do about it. And even if they did do that, I think we both recognize that our agreement to make an issue justiciable is not binding the members of the Court of Appeals. Okay, I think that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. Anything else from the plaintiff?
One quick word, Your
Just
Honor.
limited to responding to this.
Yes, Your Honor. Keep it short.
One word.
One word.
I hear that all the time when I have lawyers stand up and say, just a couple of questions.
Just briefly.
Yes.
Your Honor, on the mootness argument, we have taken this position in open court. We have cited what we believe to be very good case law. There are numerous instances in which the Court of Appeals or the Georgia Supreme Court has found that these types of issues are not moot. It is, again, pretext. It is not the reason for the underlying motive that they are not following this court's order. And frankly, Your Honor, they had an opportunity to raise these arguments, the mootness at the motion to stay. We're not here to re-litigate that today. We're here to decide what to do upon their failure to abide by the writ and their failure to acknowledge that this court warned them in their last order that it would be taking up contempt if they failed to abide. They made a conscious decision to willfully disobey this court's order, and they have their opportunity to appeal. We are not going to take a separate position on appeal after standing in front of this court today that it's somehow moot. It would have to be raised to a sponte by the Court of Appeals. And again, the doctrine of capable of repetition but escaping review will allow this case to proceed. They can have their day in court, but they need to follow this court's order, follow this court's writ, and appoint the two nominees as required by the Georgia General Assembly, as required by this court's order, in accordance with the law. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I indicated, I don't generally rule from the bench. I have followed that practice for 35 years or so now on the bench, and so I will take this. I'll review your pleadings, but there was some mention that perhaps some individuals had filed something. I don't know if any of them want to be heard.
It's on Odyssey this morning. I got
okay.
And Your Honor, I've not even read or reviewed those. If there is something that, we don't believe that it's necessary, we're not even sure that they were proper filings.
Well, I'll take a look at the docket if the system's working. I know they did an update over the weekend, and sometimes those take a while to recover from. Yes.
I'm Allegra Lawrence Hardy. I'm the lawyer who filed. So just wanted to let you know that I'm here.
All right. Thank you. And I'll have a decision today, and that'll be filed with the clerk and transmitted electronically, I'm sure. Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Your Honor.